we are going to be cooking or making a white chocolate mousse with a strawberry compote that goes on top. Okay, so it is going to require a few things. It's going to require an electric beater. Okay, so you need one of these. You can do it with a whisk, it will just take you a while. You're going to need a blender as well. I just have a little milkshake or smoothie maker blender, so it doesn't need to be a fancy one, just something like that. You can also mash it, so it's not essential. You're going to need multiple bowls. You'll probably want 3. I only think I'm going to use 2. You're going to need a pot as well, because we're going to use a stove top. You're going to need some little molds for your mousse to go in. You're more than welcome to just put them in cups or something. You don't have to turn them out, but we're going to try and turn some out. That's a maybe. We might not be able to, but we'll try. And then you'll need some cling film, a whisk, a spatula, some measuring spoons and scales. Okay, you're also going to need some white chocolate. So I've got some Milky Bar here. You're going to need 2 eggs. You're going to need 300 mils of cream. You're going to need a little bit of sugar, and you're going to need gelatin. You can get vegetarian gelatin if you are not interested in eating pork or having anything that is from a pig. Okay, so you can get some vegetarian or vegan gelatin there as well. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some cling film into our molds. So I have these little molds here, okay, and I'm just going to put a little bit of water into my mold and swirl that around and then tip that back out. Okay, so it's completely clean. I'm just going to grab some cling film then, and I'm going to put it into my mold. So as you can see, okay, I'm just going to put it into the mold so that it lines the mold, and it needs to line it quite tightly. Okay, it needs to reach all the way to the bottom, and that water is going to help it stick. Okay, so the tiny bit of water that is in there is going to help that cling film stick to the sides. All right, and that is going to give you a nice mold. Try and make it as smooth as possible. Okay, and we'll go from there. So in a minute I'm going to do the rest of those. Those are what we're going to put our mousse in later. If you don't want to tip your mousse out of the mold, then you don't have to put the cling film in. Okay, because you'll obviously just eat it with a spoon out of the mold. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab some of our gelatin, okay, and we're going to put 2 teaspoons or 1.5 teaspoons of gelatin into cold water. Okay, so I'm going to run and grab some cold water and some clean cold water in a second, and then I'm going to finish the molds. And once you've put the cold water in the gelatin, I'll tell you what is going to happen next. Okay, so I'll do that and I'll be back in a few minutes. Thank you. Okay, so I've got all of my molds sorted and my gelatin is in the water, and it's starting to thicken that water, and it's going to be great for us to set our mousse with. I've used powdered gelatin. In the recipe it says to use sheet gelatin, and it's a lot easier. Okay, so with sheet gelatin you just have to put the sheets of the gelatin in water and let them sit, and then squeeze it out and put it into the chocolate later, whereas I have to do a few more steps with this. So when I'm doing those steps, I'll tell you that you don't need to do those along with me. What you need to check now is that you have a pot, okay, and you have a bowl that sits securely on top. I have a plastic bowl, so I have to be very careful that I don't melt my plastic bowl, and I'm always watching what I'm doing. Ideally, if you can use a glass bowl, that would be best. I have a stainless steel bowl as well, but obviously metal's a really good conductor of heat, so that's going to heat the bowl up and it's going to be hard to touch. So the plastic bowl is going to be better for me to use. So the idea about this is we're using a bain-marie type thing. So we're going to fill this pot to about halfway with water, and we're going to put that on the boil. Okay, and once that's nice and boiling, we're going to grab our bowl and we're going to put it on top, and we're going to put our chocolate into the bowl, and we're going to melt our chocolate. But first of all, before we do that, we're going to whip our cream. Okay, so I'm going to get started with that, and then I'll come back to you when I will explain to you how to melt the chocolate and how we need to go about doing it. Chocolate into little pieces there, and I've just boiled the jug, so I've got nice hot water to go into the pan for when we start our bain-marie. I just wanted to show you the whipped cream though. Lots of us tend to over whip our cream, okay, but I really want you to focus on getting a nice runny cream consistency. So it's nice and thick, okay, but it's still falling off my spoon. So when you get to that kind of consistency, really slow the beater down, okay, when it starts to thicken, and watch for it, because if you overbeat your cream and you don't have any more, okay, you're gonna have to start all over again. If you overbeat it and you've got extra, you can add that unwhipped cream back into the whipped cream, okay, so add maybe about 50 mils more, and that will bring the over whipped cream back to life, but you have to be really careful not to over mix it in as to over whip all of it. Okay, so for our bain-marie, what we're going to do is we're going to get our pot and fill it with hot water, and I'm going to put it on the stove back in the kitchen, okay, but I'm filling that halfway, and I'm putting my chocolate on top, and then I'm just getting my whisk, and I'm just going to continuously move the chocolate around while it's melting. Okay, and you'll find that it takes about 10 minutes, but it will start to melt, and you want it to be nice and smooth. All right, but before you're going to do that, you're going to measure out your other ingredients, because you need to add them quickly into the chocolate mixture while it is still warm and still on hot. Okay, so before you do this, I want you to measure out your other ingredients, and then I want you to start to melt your chocolate and have your other ingredients right there next to you, all measured out, so that you can add them in when you need to. Okay, so for those of you that have used powdered gelatine like me, what you'll see now is that the water you set it in is quite thick, but it's also really lumpy. So what you need to do is warm it up. So you're going to fill another little bowl with some nice hot water, okay, and then you're going to put the little dish that you have your gelatin in into that hot water, okay, and then you're just going to give it a little swirl, and it should start to go clear, and once it's clear we can use it again. Okay, so my white chocolate has melted and it is nice and runny, okay, as you can see in there. All right, so I'm still holding it over the heat, so it's still nice and warm, but what I'm going to do is get rid of the heat there, that pan of hot water, and quickly add my next ingredient. So that is the ingredients we prepared, which is the gelatin and the egg yolks, and I need to be really quick at incorporating these because I don't want the warmth of the chocolate to scramble the egg as I put it in. Okay, so here we go, getting that in as fast as we can. Ugh. Scrape all of that in. Cool. There we go. Okay, and put the gelatin in. Fantastic. Cool. Awesome. And you're going to mix that until it's nice and smooth. We are going to strain it later, okay? So if it's not smooth, we can strain it now if you would like, but whisk it until it's all homogenized and it is really nice and smooth. As you saw there, mine went lumpy, okay, as I added the egg, so you've got to really beat it as quick as you can, okay, until you get a nice smooth consistency like this. You can beat those lumps out as long as your mixture is warm. Okay, once you've got that in, you're then going to add your whipped cream, and you want to keep as much air as possible in the mixture. Okay, so you've got a nice light and fluffy whipped cream. You're going to put that all into the bowl, all of it out. Okay, and you're going to whisk that in as well. And now your mousse is starting to form. The last thing we need to do is those egg whites, or the eggs that we separated earlier on. We're going to whip them up and we're going to add them to this as well, so we get a really nice and fluffy mousse. those stiff peaks and folded them into our mixture, we are ready to fill our molds. This needs to set for 2 hours, okay? So I'm just going to pour it into my jug here so it's easier to pour into my mold. And I'm going to pour them into each of these lovely molds. You want as much air as here possible, okay? But we want to also fill the mold to the best that we can. So give it a couple little taps down, but not too many. Into the fridge, and we're going to clean up, and then we're going to start making our strawberry puree. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be dicing up our strawberries for our strawberry puree or strawberry compote, whatever you would like to call it, that goes on top of our mousse. Okay, so what I have done so far is I have been just dicing up some strawberries as we go, and all the offcuts I'm putting into the blender. Okay, and then I'm just pulling the stalks off so that we can use as much of the strawberry as possible. Okay, so the recipe says 500 grams, just grab a punner and half it. Okay, so going through and cutting up half of them into cubes and then chucking the rest of them into the blender. Obviously, if you don't like strawberry puree, then don't make as much and don't put as much of the strawberries in. So the way you're going to do this well is if you pull off the green stalk, okay, and then you're just left with the strawberry. Then you're going to cut the edge that the green stalk was on, and you're going to flatten that there. Okay, then you're going to put that straight into your blender. All right, and then you're going to go and just cut it around with the flat side down. You're going to cut 4 sides to it to make it as square as possible. Alright, so I've got really small strawberries, so this is quite hard to do. The bigger the strawberry you get, the bigger the cube you're going to be able to produce. Then tip it on its side, okay, and cut the top off so that you have a strawberry that has 4 sides, okay, that are all nice and flat. It might have some rounded edges and might not be even, but that's perfectly fine. And then you're just going to cut that into 4 little pieces. Okay, so down the middle and the side, and then you'll just get 4 nice little pieces, and you're just going to carry on doing that until you've done about half the strawberries and you've got a nice amount of strawberry cubes to go on top of each of your mousses, and the offcuts will be in your blender. Okay, so I'll show you how to make the puree in a minute. I'm just going to finish making my cubes. Enough for serving up your mousse, you're just going to put them straight into a little bowl. Okay, so you only need as much as you're going to serve. I don't think that they'll keep fantastically. So now you're going to make your puree. So you're going to cut a lemon in half, okay, and you're going to squeeze the juice or half the juice out of that. All right, and then you're going to put the rest of your strawberries, okay, so remember as much puree as you would want will be the rest of your strawberries without their leaves on them. I'm going to fill mine, I think about quarter of the way up, because there's only 2 of us having our mousse tonight. If you do like the puree though, you could put this on your yogurt in the morning, so that would be a nice way to use this again as well. Or your ice cream, that could be even better. So I think that's about enough. Now in the recipe it says you can add a teaspoon of icing sugar. I'm not going to do that because I think that the mousse will be sweet enough that you'll really appreciate the tanginess of your puree here. So I've just got lemon juice and strawberries straight into my blender. Okay, and in a minute I'm going to blend that up, and then I'm going to put it through the sieve, okay, so it makes a nice liquid. So I'll be back in a minute once I've done that. Cool, sorry about that, I'm not sure why my video stopped recording there, but the end product is a lovely smooth strawberry sauce here. Okay, and all of the seeds will be stuck in the sieve still. All right, now you can put about 2 tablespoons, a little bit more if you would like, over your cubed out strawberries to just kind of glaze them. Okay, and then that is what we're going to be putting on top of our lovely white chocolate mousse. Cool. Awesome. So as you can see, we've waited a couple hours now and we have got our mousse out of the fridge. Now I can see that one has set better than the other, and that's the ones that I put in the glasses. So when I put this wine glass one in the fridge, I just tipped it on its side, mainly because it wouldn't fit standing up. And now we've got half of the wine glass that has the mousse in it like that, which actually looks very effective. If you then put some of your strawberries down next to it, because the strawberry is nice and bright red. Okay, so it's going to be lovely and bright, and you could even put some fresh strawberries in there as well to build it up maybe to the top of the glass. Okay, so that's that one there done. Now I think that one looks far more appealing, okay, but it's totally up to you. Then we have this one that we put in the little molds. Now I don't think this has worked at all, and that's totally fine. I would probably recommend you putting them in a glass or something that you don't have to tip out, but let's see what we have anyway. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a little mold here, and if we carefully take this off, okay, we've got some mousse that actually looks like a little bit of a scoop of an ice cream there. That's not too bad, but I think that being in a glass looks a lot more effective. And then we can just kind of put this all over the top. Okay, you could put it just around the sides if you would like. It's totally up to you. And that is a little dessert for you to enjoy. So, again, if you want this to look probably a bit more set, you could add more gelatin powder or sheets. It's going to change the texture though and the taste of it. So this is really light and fluffy, and it's really lovely to eat at the moment. So if you add more gelatin, you're going to get more of a chewy mousse. So at the moment it's nice and fluffy, but it doesn't hold a great shape when it's not being supported. So that's why we can go for the glass, and you can either fill the glass halfway or you can put it on its side and go from there. So I hope you guys enjoy. Next week, I'm not too sure what we're doing, but I'll let you know in advance so that you can get all the ingredients that you need.